In the expansive ranch house that is nestled in the countryside of Oklahoma, where the fields extend out in all directions and the stars shine brightly, Blake Shelton's home is a haven of simplicity and spirit. These memories are displayed on the walls in the form of framed records, a guitar that has seen a lot of use, and photographs of his life with Gwen Stefani and her children. The only music that fills these rooms, day in and day out, is not Gwen's pop smashes or even Blake's own country hits. This is the one thing that surprises every guest each and every time they walk through the door. George Jones, often known as the Possum, is heard singing through the speakers, and his voice is unmistakable. Blake Shelton, the country music superstar who is currently at the top of the charts and has a smile as wide as the Mississippi, has built his career on songs that are sincere and a charm that is rooted in the everyday life of millions of people. It is not a secret that he has feelings for Gwen Stefani, who is both his wife and his musical equal. The duets that they have performed together, like As Nobody But You and Happy Anywhere, have become modern country classics because they combine her pop sensibilities with his twangy roughness. On the other hand, when the cameras are turned off and the lights in the studio are turned down, Blake's playlist at home is solely devoted to George Jones, the famous voice of honky tonk and heartbreak. Why chose George Jones? To comprehend this, it is necessary to be familiar with Blake's ancestry. As Shelton was growing up in Ada, Oklahoma, he was consistently exposed to the sounds of traditional country music. Jones was the one who captivated young Blake's imagination, despite the fact that his mother had played the roles of Conway Twitty and Reba McEntire. The first time I heard He Stopped Loving Her Today, I was probably 10 years old, Blake said in an interview at one point in time. Before listening to the song, I had no idea what we meant when we talked about heartbreak. It was as if George was singing directly to my own being. According to Blake, Jones became his musical North Star because of his raw and emotional delivery, as well as his voice that had the ability to break glass or repair a broken heart. Each and every note, every warble, and every tear-soaked lyric contributed to Shelton's development of his conception of what country music could be. I wasn't simply trying to convey a narrative. I was trying to make the audience feel as though they were living it. In addition, that is the sole genre of music that is played in Blake's home. In the event that you enter the Shelton Stefani residence on any given evening, you will be able to hear the Grand Tour or A Good Year for the Roses emanating from the living room. Gwen, who has ever been a spouse who is supportive, has learned to love it, or at the very least, to accept it. While she was on the set of The Voice, she made a humorous statement, saying, "I'll come home, and it's George again. Babe, might I ask if we might switch things up? Which would you prefer, Dolly or No Doubt?" In response, he simply shakes his head and replies, "Nope, it's the Possum or bust." In spite of the fact that it has become a running joke among their friends, Blake is not laughing about the situation. His life away from the stage is accompanied by the music of George Jones. The option not only appeals to sentimentality. Honesty is something that Blake seeks to achieve in his own music, and he considers Jones to be the epitome of honesty. Instead of only singing about heartbreak, Jones really lived through it. His turbulent life, which was defined by alcoholism, failed marriages, and salvation, was a reflection of the unfiltered honesty that he expressed in his songs. As someone who has had his fair share of public scrutiny and personal difficulties, Blake finds that the music of Jones serves as a reminder to keep his feet on the ground. According to what Blake has said, George never attempted to be anything that he wasn't. He embodied the spirit of country in every way, and that is the kind of person I aspire to be. When they are at home, Blake's devotion to Jones is displayed in ways that are almost ridiculous. It is almost as if his man cave is a shrine, with classic Jones vinyls neatly stacked next to a turntable, an autographed poster from a concert that took place in the 1980s, and even a copy of the cowboy hat that is so representative of the band Possum. When there is a visit from pals like Luke Bryan or Carson Daly, they are aware that it is not appropriate to advise a Spotify shuffle. Luke made a joke about it once, saying, "You don't touch Blake's playlist." Have been indoctrinated with the ideology. In addition to being able to hum the chorus of White Lightning, They are also familiar with the tale behind the Corvette song. One of Blake's responsibilities as a stepfather is to transmit the gospel of George Jones, and he takes this responsibility very seriously. He has commented, "Those boys need to know real music," in a manner that is only half joking. Autotune and synthesizers are not going to be a part of their upbringing. Despite the fact that she rolls her eyes, Gwen allows Blake to have his way. After all, she has her very own recording studio, where she can play Hollaback Girl as loudly as she wants while she is working. On the other hand, it is not merely a matter of tradition or stubbornness. There is a more profound reason why Blake is so attached to Jones' music. Jones is a representation of a more authentic age in a world where country music is becoming increasingly polished and beginning to combine with pop and hip-hop elements. His music is unabashedly country, with steel guitars, fiddles, and lyrics that are scathing and get to the heart of the matter. For Blake, who has been a part of the Nashville scene for 20 years and has witnessed its development, Jones represents a connection to the genre's origins. The statement that Blake has made is that when I'm home, I don't need anything else. Love, loss, whiskey, and redemption are all things that George articulates. Is there anything else here? It is not the case that Blake is disrespectful to other artists because of his unique passion. It is not uncommon for him to express his admiration for contemporary artists such as Chris Stapleton or Miranda Lambert, and he has worked with a wide range of artists, from Post Malone to Trace Atkins. On the other hand, Jones' voice is what establishes him in his house. While he is sitting on the couch with Gwen, her head resting on his shoulder, or while he is grilling steaks on the porch, he plays this song. He also plays it while he is sipping bourbon by the fire. Not the TV star, not the coach, not the celebrity husband, but the kid from Ada who fell in love with country music is the one who fills the peaceful moments with song. These are the moments in which Blake is able to simply be himself. Gwen, on the other hand, finds it to be quite endearing. Despite the fact that she has based her career on reinventing herself, shifting from ska-punk to pop to country-infused duets, she has a great deal of admiration for Blake's complete and utter devotion to Jones. It's who he is, she made the statement. It is wonderful to see that he is so enthusiastic about it. Also, George is a very talented musician. The fact that she has even been spotted humming along to "She Thinks I Still Care" while cleaning the dishes is something that Blake thoroughly enjoys making fun of her for. However, despite having its roots in country music, Blake's own music does not necessarily sound like Jones. This is an ironic situation. Popular songs like As God's Country and Boys Round Here are examples of his use of contemporary production techniques, which include booming drums and catchy hooks. If you pay close attention, however, you will be able to listen to Jones' impact, which includes the conversational delivery, the emotional weight, and the way Blake lingers on a note in order to extract every ounce of sentiment. The reverence with which Blake has recorded songs by Jones, such as Tennessee Whiskey, although in a version that Chris Stapleton popularized, is not an accident. While the sun is setting over the horizon in Oklahoma, the ranch that belongs to Blake emits a warm glow, and the voice of George Jones can be heard coming through the open windows. This practice is a habit, a way of life. Friends who come to visit are aware of the following. Bring your own stories, but Blake will be in charge of the playlist. In addition, when the children are sleeping and Gwen is curled up next to him, Blake will play the song "He Stopped Loving Her Today," and for those 4 minutes, everything seems to be in order. The music that shaped him and the voice that continues to speak to him are the things that matter the most to him. It is not about fame, charts, or even love. Within the confines of Blake Shelton's residence, George Jones is the only person who is permitted to recount that tale.